item for all Salon people and then party them. Sierra Leone Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour and the Gladi program, Look Me, I Look You. All this they start soon na www.sierragemedia.org. Now who's tem these?
Hill Valley Academy is a school that provides the very best opportunities for our students to develop, grow, and mature into young adults who are encouraged to become patriots as well as global citizens. We have high expectations and ambitions for all our students. We provide a caring, supportive, tolerant, and challenging environment in which all individuals can grow and flourish. A graduate of Hill Valley Academy is a well-rounded human being capable of making the most of what life has to offer. We actively encourage academic excellence with a sense of responsibility. We look forward to welcoming you to our school and to meeting you in the not too distant future, because together we achieve the extraordinary.
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the survivors of gender-based, or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
My country, baby. It's a long, it's a long. Now we're going this. Cloud Diamond, Africa D-Block.
Sweet alone, what a beautiful home. We fall like unto the bone, cause if it went, we go. Sweet alone, what a beautiful home. We fall like unto the bone, cause if it well, we go. Everybody be saying welcome. If we own this country so strong, so good in the morning. The land is just gloomy. The moon is going. The cloud is forming. The cocks are crowing. Dew is falling. The birds are coming. Everybody running. Inside Switzerland today. The land is yummy. See the mommy, they cooking fufu. The party smoking cigarettes. Rajo, they watch baby Musu. We they find out the country rest. Right in West Africa, on the Atlantic Ocean. Inside this land, so much I can boast of. Look at the good plantation. From the beach, I get meditation. Make me not wear this nation. I get LOVE for me alone. Yeah, for me alone. Love is alone, sweet alone. What a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Sweet alone. What a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Everybody me say welcome. If we all this country so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah. Then say yeah.
I know a LOVE is Sierra Leone. Was a LO place where sweet like gold. We got diamond box, I silver and gold. So that we make time for the young and old. I mean for let we serve, help we serve. Also you come from the bars, you want for put chest. Peace, love and unity, now you for put first. Cause the jealousy and watch that don't make sense. Togetherness is one but wait for we success. So get up and go walk, I'll sit down for the top. Or criticize the government just for mix up. But stack on the pain, so we need for put stop. Time for hustle for you all, no matter how you struggle the bone. This life without pain, not easy, not in the zone. Just forget to live in all myself, can go slow. We like to say I go, I never forget about this home.
Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Everybody me say welcome. If we all this country so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah.
Say, sweet alone how we each and every one God take care of his own. We all remember say, this country now we each and every one for take care of us alone.
I will exalt thee, realm of the free. Great is the love where I get for so long. I got enough track of one for maintain this my land. No matter the situation, I get love for so long.
I got enough every day, no day pamphlet. Blessing up picking go school, make it go land the boo. I don't owe me all like farmer, put the country part up for any attack. Me the way me boo. I got enough every day, no day pamphlet. Blessing up picking go school, make it go land the boo. I don't owe me all like farmer, put the country part up for any attack. Me the way me boo.
Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Everybody me say welcome. If we all this country so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah.
Silverstone Beats.
People killing, people dying, children hurting, hear them crying. You can practice what you preach, or would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. People got me questioning, where is the love?
See this life we live, we all have to give, yeah, yeah. Cause all I see is evil, and too much killing of my people, yeah, yeah. So let's bless one another, yeah, yeah. So let's help one another. I sing again, yeah.
What's me, I don't see this kind of thing where they happen. This not for be education opportunity. Now in we need, let we learn for the share, not to all time for degree.
stand together, yeah. Stop playing the hero, looking at each other like we're zero. On the block with a C, money dip I make every day, pan pre, yeah.
R.I.P. They took our boys, they take our joy, take our joy. This study time we stop now crime. Don't blind bodies like your future.
Stop the stabbing, stop the killing. Let's love one another. Peace.
Where is the
I see fighting every day, I see dying every day. Why don't we help each other and pave the way for a better life, a life that we all deserve? Instead of killing each other, why don't we preserve? So you wanna be a bad man, he's gonna be a badder man. You got a big knife, he's gonna get a bigger knife. Our people suffered for years in chains. Now we turn on each other, cut for gains. For the ones that send the youth to kill themselves, you pretend to be a father figure but only care for yourself. You are nothing but the flesh of the devil. You're evil, low life on another level. Think about the mothers and the pain they go through. You don't care for these kids, they mean nothing to you. But karma only knows the boomerang maneuver. One day the Green Reaper will be your remover.
This head of the range ranting up some sanctimonious food is as poetic verses, ruminate a prophecy given to a sentient dude. So I say it's as it is for you to listen and deduce the wisdom that's gonna liberate and galvanize you. Under the sun ain't nothing new, that for black on black crimes and breaking news. Under the sun ain't nothing new.
You gotta stand up. Stand up for what you believe in. Gotta stand up. Stand up for what is right. Cause if you got me, then I've got you too. Regardless of what you've been through. Even when you're feeling new.
Where is the
Do this if we try. There's no time to waste, no time. Together forever, whatever the weather. Us as a unit working together.
See, I did not love done, but me heart still not tongue. God don't lift me up, but me heart still not run. You will never go far if you don't know where you're from. So I don't do it for myself, I'ma do it for the young. Plead to my brothers, let's do it for the youngers. Why spend a bag on a jumper? Back where you're from, people dying with hunger. We people then they suffer. You then I you the bluff, it's copper. You the game need for change, like we not get soft. Where's the love? Where's the love, yo? Where's the love? I said,
Where is the love?
Little youth, let's take time. Stop all the knife and the gun crime. Think of the future, paint that picture. Get a youth in the future. Peace gonna rain on me. Peace gonna rain on me. Yeah.
Let's stop the violence and come together. Get rid of knives and guns and bombs, let's be together. Pray peace and love, golden hopes through storm and weather. See what is going on.
Where is the love?
Tell me, how do you feel when you see your brothers and sisters lying down the street helplessly? And what will you do if you die today and find yourself in hell?
I want to ask you this. Look inside your eyes and answer me with all the truth. Where you get, whose side the love thing?
When I left. Boku man them get nef. If you live by the nef, you go suffer. You know get sense, you know sabi say nef not for butter. Stabbing guys, yeah that's uncool. When it comes to knives, yeah I'm anti. What happened to fighting guys with your hands, G? When you stab a man, it's not one man you stab. Just remember that you stab a whole family.
People killing, people dying, children hurt and hear them crying. You can practice what you preach, or you will turn the other cheek. Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. People got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Sierra Leone Media Live on YouTube and Facebook. And I want to say welcome to the Wednesday edition. We now how do you go inside the Republic? Well, as we all know, the Republic is there, and the Republic is the Republic of Sierra Leone. Today is Wednesday, and I think we get a lot to talk about today because a lot of stuff don't happen within the past couple of days, right up to yesterday, and right up to this. Well, I would say this evening. So there are lots of issues to talk about. I want to say welcome to the newcomers. They will don't join me today for the first time. And I also want to say welcome to the hardcore friends that we don't support me for the past couple of years, from where we start the program until we get how to go, to get a few more other programs they don't do, we get different titles. But we all know how to go, now the title we will decide for use. We make sure say we talk about almost everything where they happen within Sierra Leone, and also things that really happen within the Sierra Leonean community in the diaspora. So as we all know, today is another edition, and today is another day, and we decide for talk about everything we will feel to say relevant. And we will say relevant, not so just necessarily things will go affect you directly, but things will go affect the nation as a whole. I just adjust my mic a little bit. I think people are getting me clear, but I think I just want to adjust my mic, no more make I get them up in a way that I will be able to communicate with me viewers them out there. But like I said earlier on, today is Wednesday, and we are doing how to go, now Wednesday edition. The week has been not too bad. It starts off well on a Monday, and Ramadan don't go. We're almost there in the last few days of Ramadan. And hopefully we might pray on Friday, hopefully. I think there are rumors around going for confirm, say yes, maybe we will do the Eid prayer on Friday. If that's been the case, then fine, no problem. I know say many people are looking forward to the Eid now. So man, wait, so man don't stand by. So man, all the best things that you're used to do, well, some of them are good things and some of them are bad things. Then they wait now for see how they will come back into their old days of not sacrificing anything other than just food and few more other basic things the way they do over the years. But as Ramadan the council, then they stop. Well, for we were not can pray all the time. At least Ramadan they make we pray every day, which is good. Therefore, we were always done the pray. Ramadan they make we continue for pray. Because again, a continuity. But let God saw you for we way that they pray, let God saw you for we they pray so that we're able to continue for do all what we don't do inside this holy month of Ramadan. And let cannot be an end to another one week. We'll just wait back for next year. I think next year we'll go for begin keep fast maybe in February. Yes, I think in February. So that's what is happening. No, is it February? No, in March, April. So they go down. The car be down, the car up now, they go down now. But that is Ramadan, very important that we highlight some of the things that really happen inside the month of Ramadan, a holy month. And then last 10 days, just 90 days, then we pray to God for anything you want from me, God will do for you. God will touch your heart and God will do anything and do for you. So continue for pray. And don't forget for continue for pray for the bad people, for the good people, the one they really in our life, the one they not in our life, for the country, for the one they we get for who we. Let themselves get godly hearts so that they go for sorry for the people that within the govern. Because we don't want rulers them anymore. But one people know we govern we properly and look at the legislative of what in Sierra Leone stand for when the constitution. And as the constitution states, every Sierra Leonean have the right to X, Y, Z, 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 Z. It now depends on how you want for interpret them and what in the law will possibly interpret them for be. That is where the conflict is always belong or always lie. Now, Usai, the lawmakers themselves they argue with the law with themselves put, then you know you are in a big mess. Because if you make the law and you cannot execute it, and you cannot interpret it, then that means the law is void in the first place. Because there is nothing where you go there where you go make when you're able for control. There is nothing on the way you go able for put together when you're able for dismantle again. There is nothing on the way you go for say that you create this thing and enable for fix them. So that's where we are. State of confusion in Sierra Leone. Constitution is there, but it doesn't work, cannot be interpreted in any way, shape, or form. So don't pray to God, let God give you people that will be able to interpret the Constitution for Salon and make them better for the people of Sierra Leone, not just for a few individuals. So that na me on which then the way are the going along with the Ramadan prayers the way they happen. Let God give you people that we God fear him, we afraid God, we understand the value of what in mankind stand for. No, they can't take advantage, no, they can't take disadvantage. Just the people that will face them will go do the right thing. And they want now for make God bring come for we. I don't see the one they will do the right now, you do the right thing, but look, we bring the one and look, we get the one that we go do possibly more than the right thing for what we know and what we don't see and what we experience. I would say likely for the past 20 years in Sierra Leone. We want to see a better Sierra Leone come June. Is it June 24th, Femi, 2023 this year? But like I introduced Femi, making self can say hello to viewers them and tell them what you think about today. But as Femi, this guy forgets himself ready for camp, like I just give some short insights of what we get for do today. But I'm going to do that on me and Femi join me for look do it together. But definitely he will join us soon and he will say hello to us. As usual, Koto Juma is going to join us again anytime soon. But as soon as Koto Juma they find various assignment right now, and they call him culture, not to because of na go school you go. This culture na different culture because get the both school culture there. But it's not culture Juma because na Fula man culture means brother or big brother, and then they call culture. Not only big brother, but small brother, but still they call him culture because our culture na. So for like we get any respect, we call him culture Juma ba. Well, me, Mr. Palmer, I don't know if I'm how they call big brother Pancreas. I will find out that because I need for make people and tell me how do they call big brother Pancreas. Well, not big brother, but like how they make reference to culture so. Because then you see some like bra agbao or bra, but then say bra na wafili. Agbao na bilegushi day. Those are not the guys word now. I go find the right word. But if you're out there, you know it's not the right Creole word for culture interpretation bank. I'm not saying that how they call bra. This not be big. Nah, not find me the right word we represent the word itself. Culture bank Creole. Well, like I say, today is Wednesday, and how they go to inside the Republic, we get a lot for talk about. I believe say people are waiting, people are anxious for year two. They can't talk about today. Well. It's all your guess. But guess what? We have a lot to talk about. And when I said a lot of conversation, because the conversation therefore starts from PAPE to pay rep. And when you see them begin to talk about PAPE to pay rep, it means there is a starting, there is a middle, and we get an end. So this is now movie. The beginning, the middle, and the end. So the beginning is what we're doing now, the introduction of what is happening, and what we can talk about today. And then you get the middle, where now the basic discussion of some of the topics that we can talk about and how important they are to all of us. Then the end, now can try for summarize, we can try for possibly give you sort of solutions in some of the issues that we don't talk about. What's in the thing that we think say would be possible for make we address going forward or for make we deal with. Or for me, we just feel cinema, these are our own form of recommendations we'll be able to put across to the people of Sierra Leone for me to say, this is where we are, this is what we stand for, and this is what we're supposed to be doing going forward. But like I just gonna quick recap of what's in today's program there for the all about. And if I can start from a list before I bring Mr. Palmer for say hello to the viewers then he said will tell me what he think about today's program. One, we talk about the president's scorecard on education in Sierra Leone within the 5 years we done in our office for. We'll be supposed to do this last week, but for the fact say we dwell too much on the First Lady Ion scorecard, it make we forget the opportunity for do this one specifically today. But again, we have another opportunity to do it today, and we will make sure say we try as much as possible for tackle them, and it will be the first agenda, the topic of discussion for today. Then the second one, violence against opposition supporters in the Southeast. Again, this is very important because we've seen exactly what has been the norms within the provincial towns of Sierra Leone, as in the Southeast and other parts of the country. And we see the amount of violence being perpetrated against people who are not in support of that political party in that particular area. I don't think we should sit back as Sierra Leoneans and allow that to happen, especially when some of these violence are being perpetrated against women, which I think is wrong. Not be fact say now just because now woman, but also now the woman in democratic right for support whoever wants for support, and if we get that kind of privilege, they could do so even in your own hometown, because nobody should dictate what you should support and what you shouldn't. It is your total free will to choose and support whoever you want to. Well, we will talk about that a little bit more because we didn't get that discussion the last week, but we're not actually been concluded on properly because there is a lot more to talk about in that regard. We have to say we've been left out. But unfortunately, all that development don't unfold, we create even more tension for that particular individual day. And I think to say it needs to be highlighted even further and see what's in the steps then with the authorities don't take in regards to this particular issue. It looks like a single issue, but I think there are more of this happening within certain parts of Sierra Leone, and it hasn't been addressed at all by PPRC, by the people who are meant to be responsible for dealing with issues like that, violence against innocent Sierra Leoneans, then we know necessary. And then another interesting one, KKY. Now, can they call it Yumkela's move for coalition with the SLPP? Again, very interesting for C and for Yei. Say, Dr. Kande Kela, Yumkela, we been the, and they say we been because as far as we know, he don't resign as the chairperson of NGC, the National Grand Coalition. I don't know now which kind of affiliation he don't get overnight or form a coalition with the SLPP political party. Again, I don't know, but we go for this discussion until we'll be able to see and get people's views on that. And also we all view and opinion, what do you think about the coalition, whether Dr. Kande qualified for move along with NGC, where if we don't resign from double standard or whatever you might call it, we'll discuss them as we go along again at the program. And then you also get the government report on the incident of the 8th to the 12th of August, where we don't see the government report. We don't come out a couple of days ago. We state graphically at some point and also make certain amount of recommendations and possibly say they will discuss further in terms of the recommendation that or advice that they might want to give to government and not in the eyes of the public to see or to hear. Again, that's a question mark, but again, we'll get for good through the reports, maybe not in details for today's program, but we'll just give some bit summary of what we think say the report they're all about and how the reports stand in terms of what we're looking at and what we believe seen at the actual fact of what happened. We'll also try to discuss a little bit about the investigation, what sort of investigation was taken, how the investigation was brought to the public, whether they did something that can justify the report at the end. We don't know, but we'll get for a check and see and ask questions in regards to that. And on the bottom of the list is none other than the arrest or detention or call to make a statement of one of we own when Zainab Sheriff, we all know, say a couple of days ago or last week, if I can be precise, he pulled out a video. We get a strong message criticizing the current government, the current president, and also other political parties, especially APC, and also other political figures like Kande Kole Yumkela. So basically, she expressed her own desire of what she intends to do for this election. She expressed her own concern of how she feels about the state of Sierra Leone. And I don't know whether that is the reason why he was asked to attend a police station call from the CID or from wherever it might be. But as far as we're concerned, not yet possibly confirmed from herself but we had an opportunity to talk to one or two people this afternoon, and there were a few confirmations to say, yes, she was still at the CID, and she is still either waiting for make a statement, whether she has made a statement yet or not, but she still haven't been able to get clear access to her lawyers and family members. So we yet don't know exactly what is happening with the situation of the Zainab Sheriff's call to CID or wherever the place might be. We still wait for further information. But we'll discuss the matter. We will feel to say, actually, lead we to that particular call to the CID, or call for arrest, or call for detention, or call for whatever the situation might be. We still don't know the 110% status of voting in call for, and whether she's still being held on detention or being arrested, or whatever the situation is. We'll find out. Well, I'll bring Mr. Palmer and make you say hello to the viewers then, and let you tell me what you think about today's program. Over to you, sir, Mr. Palmer.
Hello, T-Boy. Hello, family. Yes, una hear me. Hope say una hear me loud and clear. Please, una make a know if una not hear me. We get a few technical issues over the weekend, so just checking on the equipment. T-Boy, welcome. I see you don't begin by you boku jepe. How then you call Big Brother Pankyo? You not clear you talk say the answer how then you call Big Brother Pankyo. Now you don't call so.
No, Big Brother na the
now you don't call so big.
Then English, Big Brother.
I go be English. Big Brother na English.
Back you for phonetize am now.
Big Brother na Creole. Now you don't call so. So and Goku Tokyo and can mix paper. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you guys for joining us every week. Thank you. Once again, without Una, we no go there. And Tibo and Juma, they not go able for the make noise. Per me every Wednesday. At least Una Wednesday no more. We do in the week all then the Allah make all kind of goodness. All goodness all over the place. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. As T-Boy say, we get Bokutine for talk about today. A lot of things then we concern in Sierra Leone. And we all really, especially we within at the diaspora, we can at times feel to say we they far from salon, so you know they affect you. But when you look deep down inside the thing, it affects you no matter whose corner in the world you do. As long as you get allegiance to Sierra Leone or you get people that will still the salon, it they affect you. But one thing I not see neither at Tibo in list. But that footballer we need Hakimi. You know, I kind of disappointed say an African man like a T-Boy nothing say this program was forgive Hakimi, the descendants of King Solomon. We will start with Hakimi. We don't carry revenge for him brother them, him papa them, him uncle them, you know, against the so-called, you know, people them making the trouble, the male character, the husbands of this world. So T-Boy, I will ask you a question. What are your thoughts on Prophet King Hakimi? Make a guy full title.
On a very serious note, Femi, what did Hakimi do? I totally in support of it. Let's see why. No, it's simple. It's simple. To me, it's simple. Because, again, we need to know exactly, possibly, Usai Hakimi come up from. But we know already what's in the situation of ex-UK-based professional players then. Some have been they play for Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, just to name a few. And we all see the consequences of their marital divorce settlement. If you've been there, then you should vex. But taking into consideration, I think for Hakimi in your situation, maybe you might think otherwise. But I don't know what role the woman has played in his life since they got married. I don't know whether the woman was a housewife looking after the kids or doing other things. I am not sure. But as far as I am concerned, the Akimi move, a very good one. But Akimi make one statement to the wife. He say, "You are the only thing that I own." But you might not be able to understand what you mean by that. But for me, now you not to uppercut and then I'll punch below the belt. But on a very serious note, I think if I was Akimi, I would possibly put a settlement package for her with my own discretion. Maybe she might not take it, but I think I will give her some consolation for the time she has spent around. And I make her say, I don't know whether he may play a housewife duty, but if she was playing a housewife duty, then she should have at least some percentage of his wealth. But if she wasn't, then maybe I will hold back that and say, what thing Akimi do is right? Because Akimi not get right to him money. Never mind anybody else thing for her up to God's wonderful mom. And the reason like I'm even proud of that mom, not only because the Arabs have their own huge amount of discrimination to black people. And for you to see a successful Arab player with a black mother and proud of that mother, I think the mama don't become even more popular and likable within the world of black Arabs. And then go say, good mom. That's the best thing to do to protect your son when they make money. Any mother can do that for their child. It's nothing to do with hate, jealousy, grudge, or anything. It's just the fact that you protect the interest of your own, which I think is not a bad thing. The only thing that will be bad in this particular situation for me now, if they take advantage over the woman. But if the woman not been in due diligence at home, as a wife, I don't know whether she was making her own contribution in whatever way she was, then Akimi Mama get right. They say only your mother can protect you to her grave and nobody else.
Well, T-Boy, so the story them boku, they actually don't come out and see into true story. But anyway, be true or not be true, as you say, there is nothing where this will ever look into on how marriages break up and what belongs to who and what belongs to whom. If you think about you say if the wife not being good wife, it's supposed to get a percentage. Yes, maybe. Nobody disregard. She was 31, he was 19 when they get married. Yeah. Now she's about...
Hold on, she was 31 and he was 19.
Yes. So now been picking him married. Yeah.
That was a vulnerable child at 19.
So, and, a successful footballer, at the age of 19, and she married him. She was a model, waiting some people in the see sometimes in money and assets were already controlled by the mommy because Nabi picking, if you can call them that, they went success meter. So most of we go try to look after we picking the assets them, especially with they kind of young. And so take a look at that and one of me female party then say, well, yes, the woman forgets small percentage, but taking half when something at 5 years no more don't do with the bobo for, and the mommy don't do with the bobo for 20 something. Yeah, who that really forgets majority of the exactly. So you see, but there's many things, and as you say, more important, we don't hear it, but the tragedy is we don't see other successful people in big courts because of slight naivety. You get small fame, you meet a pretty girl, you marry them, 2 years later he divorce you, they take you to the cleaners. We don't did the evidence to it in there. But again, so maybe our brothers get for a look at who that they married and how they do them. So these are all lessons to learn, but I think it's a topic for another day. Today not that we can talk about, but it's been it takes social media by storm. The story true, not true, it no matter. It give it all small laugh then this year soon.
No, but again, it looked like a small laugh. But when you look at the age gap between a 19-year-old, still a teenager, because again, reach that full-blown age yet where you're supposed to marry to somebody with 31 years, that's huge. That gap is huge. And Akimi might have fallen in love for a 31-year-old model, but that doesn't mean he should not protect his wealth. And like you clearly say, at 19, Imama is possibly responsible for looking after his financial affairs because he's not able for spending money than they. And we all know how we African parents and son, and we all know how, especially we mama them, we sometimes don't bring that man they up come as a single parent. They don't go through a lot of struggle because when you look at the struggle behind Akimi, to how he became a successful footballer, maybe you understand small study maybe they come up from. Yeah. So then you begin to look at now, say, okay, there's a 31-year-old model. Of course, we all know what models are like all over the world. They flat, they do stuff, they make their way into the bigger world. Not because of their models, but now the environment where they find themselves. So basically, to me, the age gap is huge. Normally, it could have been the reverse of a 31-year-old getting married to a 19-year-old girl who is a model. So we see that difference is a lot more with the opposite sex than the sex we decide to talk about right now. But if you go deep down, maybe Hakimi was just in love. And then Imama no go on for make you fall in love. You go say, well, you can't get a girl you get for married if you want them. Hakimi said, agree, because now Muslim then. They came from a Muslim background where girlfriend they work. Something likely, the girl self is the same. Maybe she's a model who is a Muslim. And their parents, they might not allow them to have any kind of relationship without marriage. As naive as he might be, he fell for it. And then he married. Like you clearly say, people and they married for 2 years, to then superstars they are so, and then when they don't get one picking, then decide to take them to cleaners and then shave half of the world and go live the life where they want to live. But sometimes you get away with it, but sometimes you don't. So it depends on who that you deal with and whether there is any plan in place with the person you deal with if you don't prepare yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and then financially when are the major parts of what they do. Because we all know the success behind footballers. They make money. And they make exorbitant, huge amounts of silly money. That's what I call it. Just for kicking the ball around. So you might expect everything coming around where they can entice them or take some of that money away.
So, T-Boy, on the last thing on this topic, I spoke to a friend, a female friend, African Sierra Leonean in particular. I asked and see, you know, it's not the same question I ask you. What's not your opinion on this story? And he say, well, he say depends. He say as a mother. He say, you know, he say as a wife, if in husband do so, thunder fire. He said, but as a
your
mother,
video is not coming true. No, your video is not coming true.
He say, as a wife, if your husband do so, thunder fire. But he say, as a mother, if you begin do so, may God bless her. That's what he say.
Well, there's no really mean to that because at the end of the day, the gamble, the risk is high. Because you don't want to be overprotected against anything where you begin to fall into, be it male or female. But I think what could have been the best situation now for puts together a reasonable package. But also, in Islam, women they need to get royalty when they have.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, like so, if you married, then astaghfirullah, you man die. Woman need to get a royalty do. But say, okay, now you take your money, but if you get to the picking there. And then if your papa die, the share we get from your papa, mostly if you are a woman and married, now your husband in the or you picking there. Or the brother them. Because the thing is, then go get either the brother where they in charge, because the brother now in your responsibility now for look after you until you die. So they don't actually pass the wealth to you as a woman. They pass it on to your brother, your uncle, or somebody who is a male figure in that family to look after you till you die.
So is that correct in this day and age?
Well, that was possibly a practice 1,000 years ago or more. I don't know whether it will still be effective currently as we speak. But religion evolves. it evolved to the atmospheric condition we will find we safe. We get able to adapt religion into those kind of environment, because again, we don't know why make those years they may adapt to such practices. But the trend has changed. Human beings have changed. Tradition should also change. Not to say change totally and entirely, but there should be some amount of adaptation of new things. But I don't think some of the practices of Islam is directly linked to Islam itself. Some of them are cultural practices of the various different ethnicity or nationalities, the way they practice the religion, and they can bring out their own culture inside now. So I will not say whether it is legit right now. It depends on the culture we do, or the country where you come from, or the type of Islam we practice. Maybe can determine that.
So this topic big, eh?
Massive.
So we Juma Kage for asking safe.
Good. Juma will be a good example, because their own fuller culture is equally more or less the same. Woman, they need to gain rights to their parents and property. Now the fuller culture. So they make, if you can watch, when the sister then can marry to fuller man them, and then sister the man then get money after life, the man then die. Now them brother them, they uncle them, that they can't stand for them. So they can now then stand for either for the picking and benefit, or for make them look after the picking and say themselves grow enough
do you make them do you try make Juma come? I for can quiz somebody. Yeah. But because I can always hear you saying a command them, we command that in with the person's in brother. So I don't know how you know can put somebody full of man name. You know I can
that's again not true. That's again not true.
All right.
I will justify the reason behind that. Okay, when Konoman married a sister, and the sister, if not the small sister or the big sister, it depends. Then one of that person they passed away when the wife. The man go ask the family if they get other sister where he go married for various reasons. One, now for make it gets a family member if the woman don't born picking, where they come to the home or look after them picking like for saying in them, because now the same blood they run through the family. So the family will still maintain their traditions, their cultures, and everything we don't get, because they believe still those families can share the same values. But if now the man die, then they ask the woman, provided the man gets brothers them or uncle them where he left behind with some time, financially strong for look after the woman. But now the woman then for select, and the brothers them or the uncles them where the man left. But if they not accept, it is not compulsory. But if one partner accepts and the woman be don't born picking, yes, they will tie the marriage after the ceremony of the dead person, but you are not allowed to have a child in that home if there are kids already involved in the marriage. The reason make you not allowed for born picking is because they don't want to make you take young picking over the one where you sister or where you man be don't born with you. So those are the practices. But again, people change and mix it the way they want and then just twist them the way they want for make them legal. But that is the legal procedure.
All right, so my brother.
So what's in the creative?
The rest is on a different day. We come on. We come on. No get that one day, man. One wave to for we. One wave to for we. One Creole man travel with his family. Then go Israel. Then go Jerusalem. Now the wife accidentally die. When the wife died, not to be planned, well, not being ready for that, if I can put on that way. When the woman died, now the people and say, oh, then go help for repatriate then go and make it bury the woman there because na boku money for repatriate and I country, blah blah blah. Then the man say, no, give me body, I go with her. They say, no, but let me beg and I so. He say, no. We then don't try for ask her. They say, what's happening? He said, the last person we die now, we then beg now. 3 days later, I grab back. So they already don't go make go. May not can die 3, may not can grab 3 days later. So you see, for we one wife we do, one wife for a lifetime, I think say, that's good for us. But una, I like the practice, una the April craft on our brother the woman them. But I think say there's a selfish thing in that. But she didn't know we topic this. So let us go because na rabbits only don't begin dig so.
No, I agree that it's a very selfish idea and the topic very wide. We cannot cover it for tonight's program because again, like you say, now one of just few things that we want for freestyle on. But anyway, it's good that we brought it to the public and the public don't understand maybe the two different cultures. Then where they can say Konoman they married in border and wave. Konoman can say no, na man can say me nyang way you border and wave na. But only in a facts, man they do that anyway. That I cannot argue. And then they tell you, going to say,
if brother didn't come for you, it's
like I ask you a question. Like you say, you brother and wife, and that's true because man, it is still looking when I wife. He say, hey, and the you wife you fine. This na woman would not marry so. In that section, no woman don't marry. This na woman would not marry so. Yeah, the woman turns so if you looking, you will say, you wife you got 5 ways. Anyway, seriousness. Tell me, no, we're not talking to again. No, seriousness. All right.
I get for ask Juma. Juma get girl picking them. Tibo, you get boy picking them. So I get for ask now to the same question.
You say get one boy picking one girl picking. So now what you know? With the battle about two. You get lost his book. You get forgive, then I get forgive you. But what are you going to do first? You want to take or you want
balance? It calls square balance.
That is square balance. All right, no, now serious. So, I mean, no more joking. Serious now. All right, go on. Now, see, you want to say something.
You say serious. I don't serious. What's up? What you ask me?
Okay, so what do you think about today's program? We don't highlight to VSD.
As I said, the talking points in Boku, I mean, definitely we can talk on education.
Yes.
And, the scorecard on education, I think so now, all the year for me in the past, what I feel about Sierra Leone education, how it was when we went to school and how it is now. So that's one. Second, we did talk about, what's the second point? Zainab in arrest.
Yeah.
Zainab Sheriff in arrest. Well, it's like say we country don't become country where you really can't say anything. I've been believing we've been getting rights for freedom of speech, but it look like say that rights they don't take them from we. Third point, Mio Mantrade, KKY. I had hopes for him, like quite a few of us listening here, we believe say we need a third force, a different voice. We believe say he was that person. He talked the good talk. He formed a party. We follow. Some of we because of what he say, what he do. Others of we just because we want to see something different to the way we don't see for the last 60 almost year. But again, he lets a few people down. And me can even talk a few people, he let even myself down. Because we wanted change. And I don't hear from inside the camp of some message the way it don't pass, and it don't talk well to some of him followers them about what's their intention, why it do what it do. But for me, if I talk for me personally, I think it's wrong. No matter, yes, you might have some good intentions, but the reason why you had that momentum is because you preached change. You cannot preach change one day, then tomorrow you begin preach different. So now the topic and then also don't left the violence. We don't hear, over the last, I'm not going to even say the last few days, because it's been ongoing for for the whole 5 year of the current administration. And now people are not begin to talk about time because they think that it's right, but it hasn't been right from them. They can say if train puppy, now dog you can't train, it's not possible. Once you don't leave that puppy stage day, it's hard to train. It's hard to get away from some of the bad habits. We don't see a lot of bad things happen at Sierra Leone, and a lot of people then turn a blind eye. They don't see nothing. And they will get one saying, say, if you backyard dirty, now for sweep them, because if you not take them, breeze go blow that same dirty they can inside your house. So a lot of people don't say anything because it's not affecting them directly. But then, as you know, one day it will affect them. And right now, the issues in Sierra Leone affect all of us. I mean, the Leones, first of all, we get 2 coins in Sierra Leone, makes no sense. The man we do that day, it up and go, nobody not knowing whereabouts. The Leones just they tumble, 22,000 Leones to the dollar, or is it 22 point something thousand Leones to the dollar? It's really and truly ridiculous. Our currency is possibly one of the worst in Africa and in the world. For a while we currency been unstabilized. For years, if I'm not gonna say maybe over a decade, it been fluctuates a bit, it been a rise, but not at this rate we don't see. So there's a lot of things are happening in and around Sierra Leone which don't seem to be for the best. Then we hear rumor, I not see you put on your agenda, but we hear rumor, but see then you can tax we get for good salon heavily for the use of the new terminal. So the new terminal, I think say before they build a new terminal, we were paying $30 something per trip to Sierra Leone on airport tax. But now with the area say they want beginning they pay $300 and something dollar each way. So if you go on holiday, now $700 that day. If you do go holiday with your family of 4, you do the maths. Now your pockets are numbers, so you don't even buy tickets yet. You don't even buy both tickets for cross the water. So it's there's many things happening in and around Sierra Leone. So I literally eager for Yegi, Usai, you and Juma get for the show go today.
All right, thank you very much, Femi. I think you don't address and highlight most of the concerns that we don't put on the agenda for today's program. So we can't try to see now exactly whose side we could take this to. And we start off with the president's bills, 5 years in office on education. As we all know, education has been one of the flagship projects or program for the Madabiu government or the President Bio's administration for the next 5 years, or for the first 5 years before he came. He preached a lot of changing education, making education free for every Sierra Leonean to be able to have their education in Sierra Leone from nursery to primary and to higher education. And we don't see exactly what's in that interpretation of that in terms of the issue that we get for youth education within the past couple of years. I not say you don't do a scorecard it puts together, and on this scorecard you have various different agendas, and those agendas can be discussed tonight. Although them boku, like you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 agendas. So all those 17 topics will be discussed, some briefly, some maybe into details. Again, we're not in IASO for defend the scorecard, and we're not in IASO for criticize them either. All we are here to do on this particular scorecard now for highlight the achievements of the president and ask questions in real life. The other reason why, again, I think we do this now for make the people away they salon or we know they salon, or actually quantify some of the statistical data being used on this scorecard. Because it's important. And the reason why I make feel say very important now, because if we live in a state at which the government is doing extremely well, we should not be ashamed to say it. We should be proud to boastfully say, yes, the president or this government has done extremely well when it comes to education. But we get for measure the education scorecard and what's they happen that they go on when it comes to education. And the reason like Kafisi will do that, now for make we justify the fact of what is happening in Sierra Leone when it comes to education. Of course, we all know how education not be done like within the past 40 years in Sierra Leone. Because when we been to go to school in our salon, when I say we, I talk about maybe 40 years down the line, 30 years down the line, because again, we're not young anymore. We possibly seems to be young people, but we are not young anymore. And if I can tell you about the days of Pasheki, we some picking a really salon right now, not even know if Pasheki and have somebody maybe they exist as the president, then you know how old some of us are. If we begin to talk about the experience of us seeing Pasheki in action, then you will begin to understand. If we begin to talk about the 1977 strike and all anything in the other happened at salon, we linked directly to education, then you understand what we mean by what education be like back in the days in Sierra Leone. If we begin to talk about where we go to school, we eat condor, then you go understand. And me on sad experience now the fact so being wow party we they took the condor pots. It been so greedy one day the condor pots cut one. It was not a nice scene to see. But again, that's not just one of the worst experiences we possibly see during those days where we actually get condor for lunch. So we start with the scorecard of the 5 years in office of President Julius Maada Bio. One of the top on the card states constructed or construction of, I want to forget them exactly how we did at the card, so I'm not going to make anybody feel say these are not my words. These are exactly what's in the scene at the card now they eat. So the headline, President Bio's 5 years on education. First one says, constructed 1,000 new classrooms across Sierra Leone. Constructed 1,000 new classrooms across Sierra Leone. I'm not saying there are many builders at the platform right now watching, and I believe say possibly 40% of viewers in when they watch this program right now might have acquired their own homes, either in Sierra Leone or wherever they are. But I feel say they get some kind of housing possession with they under their control. How would you construct 1,000 new classrooms? Is my question. Are you constructing 1,000 classrooms or 1,000 schools? Because you will not be able to construct a classroom that does not exist under an existing building. So is that really a construction or a refurbishment or an extension or whatever you might think it is? But will you actually construct something within an existing structure? Is that a construction? That would be my first question on the first topic where the president highlights, say, he don't construct 1,000 new classrooms across the country. Again, across the country is a very broad statement. Across the country can be in Pujon, in Bond, in Freetown, in McKinney, in Kabbalah, in Putloko, in Moyamba. Where? Because across the country is massive. As far as I know, we have 12 districts. I think Sierra Leone increased them to 14. I don't know which one of the other two will make them 14. But we used to have 12 districts. So if you don't construct 1,000 classrooms, you should be able to break some of these things down, because this is your scorecard. So if I say I have constructed 1,000 classrooms in Freetown, I will be able to say to you, break it down. I did 500 in Western area. Look, we get further breakdown. And if I want to get what in the Western area, I do 20 in the Prince of Wales, I do 20 in the grammar school, I do 10 in the boys' school, I do that sort of breakdown. So we know exactly where these things are. But for Lake, you don't construct 1,000 new classrooms across the country. And I don't know how you can construct something within something. To me, it's a question mark. But again, it's up to you guys for decide or believe whatever the president has said on this particular agenda. Say you don't construct 1,000 new classrooms across the country. I'll have to bring Femi in at some point, but I want, this is the very first one, so I want to go to the second one, maybe that we can come in. Because look, we sleep on that much. Then the second one say increased teachers' salary by 45% to 55% across the country with the new collective bargaining agreement. I'll bring you in on this, Femi, straight away. Those two. What's your view and what's your take? Very broad statements and very broad salary scale, and we yet to know what are the collective bargaining agreements. It hasn't been disclosed, and I don't think it is anywhere on any documents that you can find what the agreement was. But the increase of salaries, of teachers' salaries from 45% to 55%, we need to know what it is. What was the 55%? Was it 1,500,000? And the 55%, 10% increment was based on what?
So,
your take on those two?
Yeah, so, I say for me, education is, wait till I go see. Education a problem na salon. As you say, you go find for me kuno uside in classroom yesterday. Has he built schools? Well, I guess not, because he's seen a classroom they would don't build. Wait till I go see for fact. Now, a lot of old boys and girls have supported their alma maters with a lot of funds, both in country and we within the diaspora. A lot of money gets raised for education in particular. I think education and health are possibly the two most, in a way, Sierra Leoneans and they raise money for. We don't see, especially in the work we do work, we've been contacted by several organizations where we don't help for put them PowerPoints them together. We don't display them PowerPoints them on projectors or plasma screens them. We then the get talks. We they don't show we classroom that we then don't renovate. So yes, there could be 1,000+ classrooms that we don't get a renovation na tong T-boy. But most probably these have not been done by the government of Sierra Leone, but by well wishes them. We can together and do that. And unfortunately we don't see this particular government taking credit for lots of things because they usually call them to go and open for grace the people they work and can't open, cut ribbon, but then when they reach there now, they can go take credit. I mean, we've seen that. We saw that at Connaught Hospital after we sister do so much work. Then people in government wanted to take credit for that. So I will not be surprised if some of them classrooms also within other reports they are classrooms that have been renovated, but possibly not by the current administration. I know I begin call schools them, but we know quite a few schools them where the old boys and old girls have worked hard, raised money, and sent it for the refurbishment of the schools them. These classrooms, and they don't build roof, they don't paint, they don't make toilets, they don't dig wells, they don't build walls, you name it. And some of these schools are government schools, but yet the funds are provided by non-governmental people then. So on the teacher's salary, I not go comment again, but we know the teacher the we don't talk to, we know say they not see anything like a 45%, because 45% is literally half of your pay. So the report is saying that if they pay you 1 million leon day before yesterday, today you get 1.5 or 1.45. It is not possible. We know that isn't the truth, but again, most of the reports are, so we just get to take them with a pinch of salt.
Well, now that's not the thing we are not free to say we for do as Sierra Leoneans, because we get for possibly take them beyond just a pinch of salt. But I want to thank you to Mr. Mohammed. We just don't correct you saying that 16 districts we get in Sierra Leone, not 14. But like I say, I wasn't too sure. Even the 14 safe, I mean, it's for just guess now, because I know 12 when I was back in Sierra Leone, talking about 20, 30 years ago. I don't know when those 4 or those extra districts, they don't come into play. Okay, let's move on. So Femi, those two are, again, we get concerned. We don't raise concerns about those two. And the third one says, trained 22,000 teachers across the country on best practices. Femi, let's deal with that quickly before we move on. Because when you train 22,000 teachers on best practices, what are you specifically saying? If somebody gives you a report card on that, what will you now what thing will be you thinking? What will come to mind?
Well, again, best practices, Jesus. First of all, for me, the word best should be eradicated from the dictionary, because everywhere, because it's always subjective, if I can use an that way. Your own best and my own best are two different things. You understand? So it's we need for begin differentiate, state which you they talk about, not can't tell about best in whose regard. If that's the best way we government able do, if now we see so, then the best isn't good enough. Their best is not my best, and I should say no to your own best. Something at their own best. So may they tell we exactly what they do, but it's this.
The figure is not small. It's 22,000 teachers across Sierra Leone. How many teachers do we have in Sierra Leone?
On best practices, what are they say? Hold on. You get for understand you get for read inside this question, T-boy. He say he don't train 22,000 teachers on best practices. Waiting at them practice, then they waiting make them best. Where did they get the research from for states say these are state of the art? Because if you talk about best, we talk about world best. You understand? When they talk about best, have you come to this side of the world? Have you gone to countries like Japan where they excel in education? Have you seen? Don't even forget that. Have you gone to Nigeria? Have you gone to Ghana where far superior than we are, and see what they do and use their own practices them in Sierra Leone? We're not seeing that. We begin in the left school. They can't, they can't write a sentence. We look at posts online. Where Easter been a council, me man, the kind where they see, Jesus arose, arise, arouse. Seriously, you look at newspapers in Sierra Leone, and if you see the headlines,
not just one's headline newspapers.
You see, the punctuation mistakes. We even look at government letters them, and we wonder. I mean, there is a problem with our education system, and if we begin to say problem no day, then we all get problem. And you not get for read and write English, for make you intelligent. We're not saying that, but if you're an editor of a newspaper, trust me, you know, that's your profession. You supposed for know waiting they're gonna have front page day. Yeah, if you get a writer with all rights go to rata, you get for correct and say me man or me woman, this is not the economy paper. It's not possible. Go rewrite them, go correct them, go find somebody for help you. But you know, we have the blind leading the blind. So if he's looking for best practices, then maybe it's a good thing. But I can't sit down and say we have it now. He has implemented that. You know, because we know the same. There's no way, there's no facts. You know, make it then see us not just propaganda. Make it give facts. Make it show we also people that results for states the word best. But as I say, best is subjective. It could be his best work. We far no reach the standard when me go like, and I should say you no go like. So I the word that.
All right, thank you very much, Femi. Again, Mr. Boijalo just confirmed to me say there were 22,850 teachers when he was part of the teachers union in Sierra Leone in the 1990s. So that number may have increased, but with the president's scorecard, 22,000 of those existing 22,850 teachers have been trained with best practices. Okay, that's down to questioning. Again, if you believe that, then fine. If you don't believe it, I think you should do some further investigation. The Minister of Education website, where I think say is up and running, because they have all these data and all these reports on education on their website. But again, it's more or less hidden for you to be able to find out where they are or how you can find them, because they are not on the main page. So you have to do a lot of research within the website itself for you to be able to locate some of these reports. I've done that before, and I think what I saw was amazing. But I will refer you to go to the Ministry of Education website. You can find out about some of these things yourself if you're interested in education. Now we are going recruited 12,000 new teachers and over 3,000 education monitoring officers across the country. Amy, this is direct. Because when you recruit 12,000 new teachers, already we have 22,000 trained with best practice. And then now he has recruited 12,000. And amongst those 12,000, an extra 300, well, over 300 education monitoring officers across the country. I will read the next one, then you can double it. Introduce the Students' Loan Scheme. The Students' Loan Scheme for less privileged Sierra Leonean students in tertiary institutions across the country. Over to you, Femi. I see the only, you know what you're the boss.
Well, eventually, why not me? You the question. You know, give me your own thoughts, Sempani. I mean, no more you ask. So
Femi,
anyway,
then you are paramount.
If I listen, if I lock me eye, if I lock me eye, and somebody read all them facts, send it to me, and then he ask me, say, whose country you think say, then it's about so. Sierra Leone will be the last country out state. Yeah, all the now 4 teenagers read?
Yeah, about 5.
5. All of them, literally, if somebody said that to me, Sierra Leone will be the last country I would think of. You know, yes, if you don't build almost 1,000 classroom, you have to employ teachers. But we not see the classroom them. We don't know about them. We still see we classroom them full up with picking them. Yeah, overfilled. We still see teachers and they struggle for teach the picking them because they're not able to get the picking them that level of attention because too many people picking them in our class. You know, so we not see the new classroom them, and we not see the additional teachers them for take the burden. Some of who they work closely with schools them in Sierra Leone, so we don't know outside the information as they come out. But again, we go ask the schools them if they're able for talk and tell we, you know, if not true, you know. But you know, at the moment we know they see any of them also on the ground. We know teachers' salary is nothing. We everybody's complaining about lack of jobs. If we be not see almost 1,000 new teacher there,
12,000.
12,000 you teacher then. Trust me, Tibo, you for know at least 100 of the one in the.
True.
You for know at least 100 of the one in the. You tell me almost people and don't tell you say I don't get new job in the last almost year and me not teacher. Very few people and they left then they left teaching work. I met a policewoman. Yeah, they even the tell us they work na Lumley roundabout, but not the roundabout, but the petrol station. Yeah, na Lumley, and she was a teacher. And I shock ask, I see I seen left that work there for go work because more money than a traffic police than what they make as teacher. So and this is under this administration. So you understand? So I don't understand where these statistics are coming from. It's poor, and we Minister of Education, he's supposedly a data man. He's supposedly, they assume say if they're coming out to the so they should be able to back it with some serious facts for me could they see. But we're not see.
So now the students' loan scheme. I don't know whose side they don't start from. I don't know
if them begin that day, that would be a good thing. But again, the whole education thing, free education for we picking them, it's all a great idea. It's a great idea, T-Boy, but it's not feasible. And the reason why not be ever feasible is because they did not do the groundwork. They're not